Hey everyone, welcome back to Don't Overthink It. I am here with Coach Mott. Coach Mott is participating today. We're happy to have him back. He was a previous guest a couple months ago when he first got down here to Arizona, and we're welcoming him back again today. Coach, welcome in.
Thanks. It's great to be back on the podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty fun once you get the hang of things and you start going. It's pretty fun talking to people, learning new things about different people. So
Exactly.
it's pretty fun. So how did your Hawks do this past season?
We ended up going 4-6. Let's see, I'm trying to think. We beat Rincon pretty easily. Took care of business with Choya. I think those might have been the only two region wins we got. Considering, we played a really good Sayurita team, lost by 12 points. Got thumped pretty good by Douglas. Held our own against Empire. Had a heartbreaking loss against Glendale. Took care of the rival for the third year in a row. So, overall, it was a pretty good season considering some things that were out of our control. 4-6 for my first year in Arizona wasn't what I expected, but it wasn't a disappointment after all. After we look back at what we accomplished, and we graduated 23 seniors from last year's team. And then we had a coaching change, so I'm no longer a part of the staff for this upcoming season, which is kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. I've got fillers out there for other schools for next year. Quite a few in Arizona, some in the Midwest, one in Colorado. So we'll see what happens after this school year. But yeah, other than that, we're gearing up for school and starting next week, and it's back for year 2 of Arizona school year.
So let's start off back with the team. You went 4-6 as a new interim head coach coming in. You guys had a new interim head coach coming in. 4-6 is not a bad record considering learning a whole new scheme and things, a whole new defensive scheme, offensive scheme. That's not a bad record for 4-6. The boys are really into it. The boys seem to pick up on it really quickly, and it turned out to be successful.
It was very successful.
4-6 is a good record to have with new coaching staff. Starting off with a new team. Yes, they already knew the coach that was there, but still, learning the program. A lot of people don't understand. Like, oh, you just take plays, and a lot of people think, oh, it shouldn't be that hard to learn a concept or a scheme. No, it is day and night when you go from one concept to a whole new concept. Learning the plays and stuff is really difficult because everybody has their own blocking assignments, their own different things. Everybody, you have to imagine 11 people on a field, and they're all doing different things at the same time. You got to be well meshed and well mechanic to be able to produce anything. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people do. And coming off on a season 4-6, that's really good. That's a really good start. Hats off to you for having a good record like that. Now, your JV team, how did your JV team do? I know you had some struggles, but
our JV team, we went 6-1. We started with no Gallus right out the gate, which was a nightmare. After that, we fixed the issues we had. We got clicking, and I think we had 4 or 5 guys that ended up playing significant time at the varsity level last year from the JV that got pulled up. But we were 6-1, so I was happy with that. those guys bought into the process. After week 1, we were just rolling. So
That's good because the JV team is going to be your next man up type thing, you know.
Exactly.
Someone gets sick, someone gets injured.
Yep.
They're pretty much your depth chart. You have to reach down to them and say, hey, you know what? It's time for you to step up, play at another level.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, you said you were graduating 23 seniors. We graduated 20.
We graduated 23 seniors from last year's team.
So what's your leadership looking like now? What do you think it's going to look like?
It's going to be juniors and seniors, basically. There's a lot of juniors that played significant time as sophomores last year. The starting quarterback was only a sophomore last year.
He's got the experience now.
His top target was only a sophomore last year. So there's a lot of experience coming back that knows what it takes to win, especially in the 4A, in the Gila that Rio plays in. They play like teams like Sayurita, Empire. Pueblo just got added to the region. Amphi's no longer in the region. Douglas is no longer in the region. So they've got they got Pueblo, Toya, Rincon, Empire, and then Rio. So there's 4. It's a 4-team. Oh yeah, and Sayurita. Can't forget about the region champs. And I think in the region that's going to be Rio's biggest test is going to be Sayurita, because Sayurita returns a lot from last year's team that won their region and they've easily made the 4A playoffs.
Now Sierra Linda is coming off a 3-7 record.
Yes,
they're coming over into a new region.
Yes.
So from what it looks like, they might have They have a lot of experience. Coming back. That's gonna be, and they're from Phoenix. So
yes. That could
be a potential struggle for them. It sounds like.
Yes. I think their week 1 opponent, they play at Combs. Combs went 65 last year, made the playoffs. I think Rio might have their hands full right out the doorstep.
So,
and then,
you're talking about Sierra Linda playing Combs the first week, right?
No, Rio Rico plays Combs the first week.
So Rio Rico has Combs, then Nogales, and then Sierra Linda. So
yes,
I think they're going to have their hands full a lot this season. You talked about having that connection between the quarterback and his number 1 target.
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure what position his target plays, but
his target's a wide receiver.
So it sounds like if this is going to be it also depends if this is going to be a running offense or a passing offense, or if it's going to be well balanced and be a combination of both.
I believe that it's going to be a balanced offense.
Okay, so he has the opportunity to possibly go deep, or convert those third down.
Yep.
Okay, because he's got that wide receiver. He's got options to either run it, and he's got options to pass it. He's got a main pick out there a main target that he throws to.
Yep.
Okay, so it sounds like Rio Rico could do pretty well in their season, but they're gonna have their hands full.
Yeah, that first game out the gate is gonna tell a whole lot about how they're gonna be this year. I mean, the outside sources are saying 4-6 again or 5-5.
Well, Combs went 4-1 last year
in their region. Yes,
in their region. Yeah, their overall was a 6-5.
Yep.
The region was 2-3. So they, so there's a chance that they can turn it around. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully
exactly.
Well, I gotta be fair. I can't say who pick on I can't pick a side. So
right.
hopefully the best for both teams.
Yeah, I'm hoping Rio has a really good year, but I don't know. I'm not gonna pick one side over the other. I think both teams will be much improved. Um, so yeah, I honestly think Nogales is gonna be improved this year. They've got a brand new head coach coming in from Florida, and I think Nogi could surprise a couple teams on their schedule. So I don't see Nogales going 0-10 this year either. I see Nogales grabbing a couple wins. Nogales actually starts with Amphi at Nogales week 1, and then gets Rio the following week at Rio.
Yeah.
So I think North Canyon's gonna be improved.
I think North Canyon would be improved too.
They've got a couple of stud receivers that are 6'5" that are pretty big kids.
So, Coach Mott, real quickly,
What's up?
Coach Dawson just sent me his email address. Do you want to bring him in and continue this conversation? Because we can edit it, pick and bring him in, bring him out, whatever we need to do.
We're good.
Okay,
we're good.
So I just sent him the invite
Yep.
to the thing, and then we can still keep talking, and then we can always edit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a lot of experience coming back. A lot of people who are going to be good targets for Rio Rico's quarterback. Now you mentioned something about not being a coach anymore. I know we talk a lot outside of this.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about being a baseball coach.
Yep.
Are you still going to have that?
So I will be going back to baseball. I'll be more than likely I'm going to go back as being the JV head baseball coach. That was really fun for not having coached baseball before. At the high school level last year,
JV is always fun.
Yeah, those kids, those guys, they move up and down from playing varsity to JV. So I never had the same lineup from game 1 to game 16. It was always changing because I was always having kids move up to varsity. That it was a lot of fun. I mean, our record wasn't the best, but I mean the kids improved every day. So that's the biggest thing at the JV level.
Yeah. So I was a JV head football coach, and watching my boys practice and play and work hard and stuff, and then have that playing time. Maybe a play or two on varsity just really lights up their eyes. But the fact that they're learning something and they're taking it from one level to a whole new level, is really eye opening. It's a really great experience to see as a coach. Seeing that success is really awesome. And just people say it all the time, but until you experience it, there's a lot that can happen at a JV level. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. One thing from another, especially baseball or football, you don't know if this guy's going to catch the pass from the quarterback, and if you fumble it in the air, or kind of like what are they? I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. I forgot what it was. Varsity Blues, where they do the hook and ladder.
Oh yeah. Yep.
The unintentional hook and ladder. That happens. Things like that happen a lot. It's pretty fun.
That actually happened when I was in high school. So that's been 16 years ago now. We actually ran that in a regular season game, either a regular season game or a playoff game. I don't remember which one. And we ended up beating an opponent, which was our rival at the time. So that's pretty fun to see that we didn't think it was going to happen, and it happened, and like, oh, interesting.
But we had a couple of those happen, like on punts. On punts, the punt returner, and this kid, he's a senior. He's a senior now. He graduated. Well, he was a senior, and he was my main return guy. He was fast. He was probably 5'11", 6 foot.
Oh, nice.
Like a buck 60, and I believe he had a really good 40. His 40 was like 4.6 or something like that. He was a fast kid, really super fast, Native American. Could not catch a ball for nothing. And then he would sit there and he'd cup the ball and bounce around in his hands, and then he'd drop it, so he'd fumble it.
Oh, geez.
And it would roll around on the ground for a second or two, and he'd pick it up, and his hips and his feet would do the work. He'd be coming, cutting in and out, left and right, up and down, back and forth, spinning, and he would just take it to the house almost every time he did that.
Nice.
He was because he was so agile, and his speed was amazing.
Nice.
And then things like that are just so fun to watch, because you don't, as a coach on the sideline at the time, they're heartbreaking.
Yep.
Because you don't know what's going to happen. But when you watch it back on film or watch it somewhere else, it's like that really just happened, you know. So it's a good time.
Yeah.
So you said you had some options here in Arizona. Being an assistant coach, getting on a team is pretty stressful.
Yeah.
You're coming into a whole new program, whole new kids.
Yep.
And you're trying to get that blend of camaraderie with the other coaches.
Exactly.
What's the effort? Not the effort. I'm sure it's a high stress level. It's a high stress situation doing that. What is that to you? Is that do you handle stress well, or?
I do, for the most part. I just stay like my normal self. Like, I'm relaxed, and it was the same thing last year coming to Rio. Like, I didn't know anybody, and I was just laid back and went with the flow, and just to know the guys, and that's basically how I am. I just laid back most of the times and just go with the flow.
Yeah, unfortunately that Rio did not work out for me. As much as I would have liked it too, it didn't work out.
Yeah,
but that would have been some fun times out there.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun.
Because the couple practices I did make it to, that I think I made it to 2 or 3. And made it to 2 or 3 practices during our time down there, and I was just, the meshing with the boys was fine. It was fun. It was fine. They had a lot of questions for me. I answered a lot of questions for them. We just kind of went back and forth and answered each other questions. We have Coach Dawson here, who's joining us today as a guest. He's I was telling Coach Mott. This is Coach Mott. He's a coach down in Rio Rico, Arizona. So we were just talking about, camaraderie with the boys, the coaching staff, stuff like that. So give us a little bit of background of you, Coach. What's it like? I know you're in Pennsylvania somewhere. Give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Yeah, so coached since 2017 at a local high school. I actually graduated 2014. Took 3 years off, started back up in 2017 with a midget program, and then worked my way up to high school, and then got a college job at Dickinson College 2 years ago as a running back coach, and then working full-time job and basically a full-time college coach on top of recruiting. I couldn't manage it, so I ended up going to a local high school probably about 20 minutes up from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And then I was the running back coach, special teams coordinator last year. And then the play caller also, and now I'm taking over calling the offenses and along with running backs. So I've been bounced around a good bit, learned a lot from a lot of other local high school coaches, and learned a lot from other coaches listening to podcasts and, being really active on Twitter, or X as we call it now, just trying to be a student of the game and also trying to coach young men up.
Sounds like a pretty good record. I'm Coach Donny. My name's Donovan. A lot of people call me Donny. It's a nickname. I'm based here in Arizona. and I've coached since 2019. So I tried to coach last year. Unfortunately, my job took me out of state where I couldn't coach anymore, so I ended up stepping down. But before then, I was a special teams coordinator, JV head coach, wide receiver coach, defensive, offensive line assistant coach. So I've done it all. I've done everything, pretty much almost everything. As a JV head coach and only having 2 coaches, you have to coach every position on the field as a JV coach. So you have to learn everything about all of it. So I get what you're saying. You've been bounced around all over positions and stuff. So I get that when you say that. I've had many hats in the coaching field. So, and this is Coach Mott. He's I think he specifically focuses on defensive line and offensive line.
I'm more O-line, D-line guy. I've done wide receivers, DBs, but my forte is up front. I like working with the hogs up front.
Playing in the mud.
Because if you don't have the hogs up front, you don't move the football.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Nothing works without the big boys up front. And I've always been a O-line, D-line coach. I've coached semi-pro. I've coached 5A football in Illinois. Been to state championships. Not gotten over the hump and won one yet. Lost one on a questionable call, 45 to 44 in Illinois. It was Catholic school that we played. It was brutal. But Illinois football is a lot different than Arizona football. And I figure it's the same way with you, Coach, that it's you see a lot of different things that you probably wouldn't see like in Arizona. There's a lot of ground and pound teams down here that like to run the football, but we also see a lot of teams that like to spread it out constantly and throw it.
So you'll see a lot of the wing formation, and the double tights and stuff like that, rather than a 2x2 or a 1x3 and stuff like that in Arizona. A lot of them, especially when you get up to the reservations, like let's say like Alchesay. Alchesay has big boys. I think their average lineman is like 270 pounds.
Yeah,
standing anywhere between like 5'8" and 6'2", 270 pounds. I mean, these guys are just beefy boys, and they can just you put your running back behind them and you run for days. It's pretty good. It's good to see. It's good to watch. It's really fun to watch because you have a defense who doesn't know what to do against a wing formation or a running formation like that, and you see these big old boys just come out and just plow that defensive line over, and it just opens up, and that running back is gone. It's like a slingshot. It's pretty interesting to watch. So quickly, how do you say the name of your high school? I tried to pronounce it many times, and I just choked while doing it. Coach, you there?
Oh, yeah, sorry. You're talking to me. I was thinking about something. You're talking about me. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
How do you Coach Dawson, how do you pronounce Susquehanna? Okay.
Susquehanna. Okay.
So you're coming off a 2-8 record. It looked like you had a lot of lower classmen that were participating at what I'm guessing at the varsity level. I only counted, I think, 2 to 3 seniors on your team. So the seniority wasn't really
3
there.
Seniors.
Yeah. So what's it look like coming back next year? What's it going to look like for you guys?
Yeah. So we're putting in. I have high hopes. Like everybody knows, the coach knows. Without the big guys up front, we're nothing. And that's our biggest struggle right now. Trying to find those guys to. Okay, you might not be a left tackle. You might have to be a center this year. So throughout summer, we were holding summer practices, and we were trying to figure out, okay, who's going to be this guy on the line in X, Y, and Z. But then we were all thinking realistically, like, we can all speculate, okay, this guy's going to be here. But until we put the pads on, we really don't know. But I mean, with we got a returning quarterback. He's learning a lot. Finally understanding how to read a defense from a pass game perspective, which is progressing. He was staring down that one senior we had last year and would throw 50-50 balls up to him, and just inconsistent, but just young. He was really young. So, with a true off season we've had, I think he'll get there. I don't think he's there yet, but more time reading defenses, more time of understanding, okay, if they're doing this, we need to do this. If they're in cover 3, if that free safety's going to roll, you need to check into this route. You need to choice this receiver because he's going to roll into the box. The DB's going to bail. So you want to, just more realistic football for him and not just, okay, here's a play. If we got a post dig or a post and then we got an in concept with, 2 flats, of course, he's going to always look for the post. Just realizing, okay, you don't have to throw the deep ball 100% of the time. I tell all the kids there it's 3.3 to 3.4 yards is a perfect play in high school. So it's it's a
absolutely.
Everybody wants to throw the deep ball.
Yeah, and then at that, even some quarterbacks at the high school level don't have the accuracy that they see in college or at the pros or at bigger schools. 6, 7, 8 schools. They don't have that accuracy as a quarterback. So even those little, over the middle, the drags across the middle, the little, cuts to the outside, the out routes and stuff like that, those are wins. Getting those little bit of yards are wins, because you can inch your way down the field if you need to.
I'll just take my 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
I'd love 3 yards. I would love 3 yards every play.
3 yards in a cloud of dust. Let's run the football every time.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your quarterback. Your quarterback is a sophomore. This past year he's a sophomore, so he's coming back as a junior. He's going to have he has experience under his belt already as a underclassman playing at a varsity level. I'm going to agree with you on this because I know you're going to agree because he's your guy. He's going to be better than he was last year, obviously, because he's got that experience. He's got the experience. He knows what he's going to have to work for. He knows what he's going to have to do to make this team a better team. He's going to have to, knuckle down and be like, hey, this is what we got to do to be able to be successful and stuff like that. So I see a lot of good things coming out of him as he progresses through his college or through his high school career, especially starting at a sophomore level, playing at a varsity level, a sophomore grade level, playing at a varsity level. I see a lot of good things coming out of him. He's a pretty stout dude too. I think it said on he was like 5'11", 160 pounds, something like that. Is what I read on the thing.
Yeah, sir. He's actually 6'1" now. He had a growth spurt over the summer, so
he's gonna be able to see right over that offensive line and just pick him off.
That's what we're all hoping.
Yeah. My biggest thing, Coach, is how do you keep the kids from not listening to the outside noise coming off of a 2-8 season? How do you guys keep your kids bought into the process? Because I know that's frustrating because I've been there and had seasons where we've gone 1-9 and the outside noise get inside, and it was a headache to keep our kids bought into what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so I still hear it every day in my personal job. Like, oh, season's gonna suck, blah blah blah. But from the kids' perspective, I'm like, listen, we get for example, we have a thing called Fourth Down Magazine here in PA, and every Thursday, Friday morning they come out with all the predictions. So we implemented something the head coach did actually is as soon as we have summer practices, all of the social media, all the phones go away. If we see a phone out, we make them run. And then we hosted a 7-on-7 tournament. Was that 2 weeks ago? And we've brought in a couple of the same teams. Players and other coaches came up to myself, other players, and said, wow, you guys really turned it around. So I try specifically to just really focus on the positive. Like, hey, we're doing this better because this person's seeing, like, this coach said, oh wow, we're doing this better, and this player says, like, I had a player from another local high school during our tournament said, like, we progressed more than he thought we were. So that, like, I didn't take that. I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, but as soon as I heard that, I went to the kids and we're like, hey, we're seeing, other schools are seeing that we're progressing to something better than we were last year. So, I try to just focus on the little things, and me specifically, like, I don't worry about the outside world. Unfortunately, I do to an extent.
Yeah, me neither.
On game week, I always like to know, okay, what's going on. But in the end, as soon as I read it, I'm done and over with and focused on everything. But we never had a true, like, under this staff, I would say we never had a true off season because of new hires on and everything else. So this year was a true off season, and our O-line coach is our weight room coordinator, strength and conditioning guy. So we see it as coaches as their numbers progress, because our guys chart everything from from here. We're gonna max here. Here's your percentage. I'm not there. I don't understand that, but our O-line coach sends it out to all of us, and I'm like, that's impressive, because we have a 6'1" quarterback that can bench over 200 pounds. That.
Oh, dang.
That's
crazy.
Barely too much anything last year. So, we're trying to put numbers beside their names to say, hey, you were here at the end of last season. Now you're here. And now we just got to put all the pieces together. Don't worry about all the outside talk, and understand that each day while we're out here, we just get better and better. It's tough.
1% every day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So another thing, along with that social media, even just like the power rankings can discourage a whole program, and the program is built around the kids. So if you expect to come in at, let's say, within the top 10 preseason rankings, and you're like at the top 20, you're ranked at number 17, that can discourage a lot of kids, because that's what happened to us here in Holbrook. It actually happened in the playoffs. We won our region, so we were supposed to get a higher seed playoff ranking, and we didn't. I think we were supposed to get like number 4, and we ended up getting ranked number 7, which kind of discouraged the kids a little bit. And they're like, "Oh, we're supposed to be ranked higher than that." But with that mindset, you have to be able to, like you guys do, keep them focused on what the ultimate goal is here. The ultimate goal is here to have fun, have a successful season, and to be a productive citizen, a productive player, athlete, student, to be productive. That's the main focus here. It doesn't matter what you're ranked at. Let them rank you low and then prove them wrong by being successful. Weight room, like you mentioned, Coach. Weight room's a big thing. Weight room is a big thing.
Yes.
And
let
weight
them
room
rank
does
you
not lie.
No. Just like camera. Cameras don't lie either. If you say you're slacking off on something, and somebody sees it and like, well, I didn't slack off. Well, let's go watch film, and it does show you slacking off. Guess what? You got to be accountable, and I think that's where you guys taking the phones away, having them be accountable for themselves, builds a program. And I've helped build a program from the ground up, and it's a struggle keeping them focused, keeping them, their attentions. It's really difficult and hard to do, but hands off to you guys who do it day in and day out, 365, all the time. Because football is a never-ending job, especially at the high school. You got clinics, you got meetings, you got the text messages that come through. My first year starting coaching, my wife was like, "What is that going on? Is that your phone going off?" I was like, "Yeah, that's my phone." And she's like, "Well, can you mute or something?" I was like, "No, I can't. I got to pay attention to this. This is important for me as a coach." So keeping them focused, keeping their attention going is my hats off to you guys for doing it. 365. I mean, that's a struggle.
And like, as young coaches, it's hard when you're married, because my wife and I, we like work in the same district, and she knows, like, when it's football season, I flip a whole other switch.
It's grind time.
She thinks it's like single life at home because all I do is grind for football.
Yeah.
I actually took an analyst job this year, and I'm still grinding, watching film, breaking down film.
Yeah.
And she's like, does it stop? And I'm
Yeah.
like, nope,
Nope.
no.
Yeah.
Does not stop. We went to clinics. I was gone for like a whole month. We went to a Phoenix clinic, and then like a week later, we ended up going to a Las Vegas clinic. And I was gone, and then with our 7-on-7 in the same month, and then we had other 7-on-7 scheduled for that. You know, it was just kind of, well, no, this was preseason workouts, spring ball and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's when we did the clinics. You know, going to practice, the spring practice, going to the clinics, going back to practice, starting our 7-on-7 season and summer workouts, and back into the season. It's nonstop. You're consistently working on things, finding a way to improve. And my wife kind of got frustrated about it. She's like, you're busy all the time now. You're keeping. I was like, well, it's good. We're keeping busy. You know, we're making the boys better. We're doing all these things to help improve these individuals and stuff. So it's a never-ending job. It's. I thought it was, you know, you work the 4 months, you take the, you know, whatever months off, and then you get back in the grind. Nope. It's every day, even Sundays. Go to meetings on Sundays, watch video and stuff. We were talking about it earlier. You know, Monday through Thursday, you're out on the field practicing with the boys. On Friday, you're playing your game. Saturday, you're preparing a scouting report or something, and then Sunday is a film. Saturday and Sunday are like film days, your relaxing days, and then Monday you're back at it at the grind on the field. So it's definitely work. So what I know I was looking earlier because I get nosy. It's my thing. I was looking at your roster and I noticed you only had probably about 30 boys, 30 to 35 boys on a team. What class do you guys play at? You guys 8-man or are you guys 11-man?
We're 11 up in PA.
That's what I figured.
I don't think I'd love to play 8-man. It's a lot faster. I'm used to a faster game.
Yes.
It's good.
Yes.
Coming from a college level. So, you know, coming back to high school, it's slow. You know, and then my first year in college, I was like, I've built great relationships. And then, you know, I went up to the wide receiver coach from Eulenberg. His name's Jeremy. And I was like, dude, does this game get any slower at the college level? He's like, it does. It just takes a while. And it did, but it happened at week 10, and I was like, oh, I get this. And then, you know, jumping back to the high school level, it's like watching the little Friday night tykes or whatever, little kids running around, and, you know, it makes a lot more sense. But, so the whole roster issue, I wouldn't say an issue, but it's just, you know, like you guys, like I said before, we're just building something. We have a junior high program now at the high school I'm at, which was the first time in, I think, forever. So I think we're looking at another 20 kids to 30 for that. So that's a big stepping stone because our previous program, we're trying to like build a feeder program, if that makes sense. I'm pretty sure it does. But other program we had was they wouldn't run the offense we were running on Friday nights. So it was frustrating because they would get up to us and we would have to install, like, because we're a spread offense. We're a spread RPO, quick game, mesh. Like college style offense. So
nice.
We would have to reteach them everything, and some, like, people don't know you can only have 7 guys on a line of scrimmage, and, you know, this guy's on and 3 other guys are on, and they're like, no, that's wrong. They're like, well, no one taught us that. And I'm like, you know, so it was frustrating seeing that. So now we've only cut that out, and now our current junior high coach and the entire junior high staff is on board with what we're doing up at the varsity level. So that's really boosting our numbers. But, you know, it's tough because we're a small 3A school. So I think we graduate, well, not me, but the school graduates, I want to say 145 to 160 every year. So it's not what I'm used to.
That's a lot of kids.
I coached at a 5A school before, and I was, you know, we graduated between 200 to 300 kids, if not, you know, 350. So the talent pool was a lot better. And, you know, I hate to say it, but the record holds Sure, no one wants to come out to, okay, like, oh, I want to come out to a 2-18, which, as a high school kid, I get too. But, so our goal is just to boost numbers. We'd love to have a JV team, but with 30 to 32 sometimes kids, a lot of them play both ways, and then it's tough to pull together a JV squad to play on Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever we play, and then worry about game planning on, one day, because I'll be pulled down to help JVs out on, after film breakdown and after our meeting. So I'm taking time away from the varsity kids to help the JV kids, because our staff isn't as big as I'm used to, or most people. I think we have 2, 4, 5 coaches at the varsity level. So it's stressful, and most of us coach both ways. I know the head coach, he's our defensive coordinator, so he'll help with the linebackers, and then he's the quarterback coach also, and our wide receiver coach is a DB coach. So we're stretched thin there, and I feel like I wouldn't say that has an effect with numbers wise, but the kids are, see it, that I think in my eyes, if you got a bigger staff, you could delegate more stuff. And as a I wouldn't say first year, but year and a half OC, makes sense.
Yeah.
So you were talking about being having short staff, or not. Well, I guess you would call it short staffed, having coaches play 2 ways or coach 2 ways, and then having kids play both ways on each side of the ball. I completely understand the stress and the struggles it is. My first year coaching high school football was in 2019, and we had 5 coaches on staff. I was the JV head coach, I was a wide receiver coach, and like I said, I was the assistant defensive line coach. So I had to go both ways, and then along with helping the varsity, I also had to go and coach the JV. So I would go out on Thursdays to coach. I'd have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with the JV, and we only practice our JV for like 15-20 minutes of each practice, which isn't much to get defense and offensive in. It wasn't much. And then Thursday we would play, and then Friday we would play varsity, and then go back to. So the struggles with it and being stressful, and having the kids play, and then there were games where I only took maybe the most I had was maybe 16 boys, 18 boys on an away trip, and I had to play both sides. We had to play a full game with only 16 boys, or the least I've ever had was 13 boys, and it was. So I get the struggles that coaches and teams go through with being short-staffed, not having a deep roster, and stuff like that. And it's a struggle. But once you get to those bigger schools, like Coach Mott, the 4A, the 5A, you have your pick of who you want and who you can put on each thing. Being a special teams coordinator, it's hard to find my 11 guys that I want on the field who can cover a punt, cover a kickoff, return a punt, return a kickoff, and do the field goal, the place kicking, and then having your running back do the place kicking, as getting the kicks in during practice, the long snapper getting the snaps in that they need to get in to get practice in. It's a struggle. It's hard not having those designated coaches and those designated players to be able to do that. So that's I get that completely. The stress is real. It's there.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was also the special teams coordinator last year, like I said, but it was tough because you don't want to burn those kids out going technically 3 ways. Some of them don't even leave the field, and that was that's a big thing.
That's got to be hard.
They got to have the rest, especially if they're going to be playing a quarter or 2 in the varsity game the next day. So
right.
Yeah. Do you guys have where they can only play a certain amount of quarters a week, Coach? I know in Arizona they can only play up to 6 quarters up to 6 quarters a week.
Yeah,
I think a total of 10 games.
Yeah, so we have a 10-game, 10-week season, but we have kids start from, we're off. I call it our dead period. I learned that I was in Tennessee, and they have a dead period, so I'm calling it our dead period, and we start up camp August 4th.
Okay.
But then the following week, we get 2 weeks to prepare for our first opening season, and then we're 10-week schedule, but we have kids play 10 weeks, both sides of the ball, 3 sides of the ball. There's no limit on the amount of snaps or amount of plays they can, or amount of quarters they have.
Okay. So, yeah, that's different because I never knew that until I got to Arizona, because that wasn't a thing in the Midwest either. So it's just interesting to find out from other states what their qualifications are and requirements and all that good stuff.
I know here if I remember correctly, here in Arizona, if the player is on a field for 1 snap, that is considered a game. And I think the JV the JV season and the varsity season, they're only allowed 10 games per season, or something like that. So if you have a JV player play all 6 games, let's say you have 6 games, 8 games, 6 to 8 games at the JV level, and he goes into a varsity game for a snap, that is considered his 8th or 9th or 7th game. That's considered a game against him.
Yep.
So he's only got 1 more game after that.
Yeah.
He can play as many times as he wants in that game. It's just whether he takes that snap, it's going to count against him. So I don't know. Arizona's kind of crazy with rules. I'm not exactly sure the what's written in the rule, but that's my understanding of it. So, Coach Dawson, what is this season going to look like for you guys? What's something that you guys, without giving any specifics or giving away any kind of details, what's the season going to look like for you guys?
Well, I want to say better than 2-8, but it's hard to say. I want to be as positive as I can, but I told the kids this, and I tell everybody I talk to through social media. I am the realest guy you'll ever meet. So, to be brutally honest, I have no idea right now. I want to say I want to go 5-5, at least be 500 this year and make a playoff run, but it all depends what comes out through camp. If our line can't hold up and we deal with something like we did last year, it might be a 1-9 or a 3-7. But the goal is 5-5. But if my gut's telling me right, I'm thinking a 4-6 season, 3-7, just because of our offensive line play. To be brutally honest, that's
still an improvement from last year, Coach.
Yeah, it is. But
you got to look at it that way too.
Yeah, but the time and effort. Everybody knows the time and effort you put in. It's like, what did, because I feel like what did we as coaches do wrong? At the end of every game, or they look back in the season and be like, oh, I could have done this better, I could have done that, or I could have saw this and said something to the head coach and we could have managed the game better or whatever. But like at the end of the season, we all have I'm assuming everybody else does, have like a banquet, and we all coaches sit together. We rewatch film. We're like, wow, we could have done this better and that better. And, but I want to say 5-5 so bad. I want to say I want to push for a playoff run, because I've only played in 1 playoff game throughout my, high school career. That was my sophomore year. I played in a conference championship in college. We lost that, but it is what it is. But nothing beats Friday night lights. But it's, I don't know. That's the question I get all the time is, where do you see Susquehanna this year? It's a tough question to answer, to be honest. But I guess that's the honest answer.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Right.
It's anything is better than what you did last year, unless you're falling backwards.
Yeah, exactly. I hope not. I hope not.
The first two seasons that I coached, we had the first one was an 0-10. The first two seasons were both 0-10, and those were rough seasons because you got a lot of the kids saying, "Oh, I don't want to play because they're losing. I don't want to," and then you have all the bad talk from the community, and it's like you got to understand the process of building a program. And then the third year we would come out as, I think it was 7-2 or 8-2 as region champions, and then they've just been having success from there because of the culture that's been built there. The program has stable, secure coaches that are going to be there for these kids for a while. So a lot of the community is like, "Oh, well, you guys, you suck at being a coach. You couldn't win this year." You have to look at all aspects. The coach has to develop the program. The kids have to buy into the program and learn the program, and they have to do all these other things, fundraising. It's a pyramid. The bigger base at the bottom was the head coach, and he does everything. And everything everybody else sees is the top, the winning and the losses, the X and the O's. That's all they see, is that's the tip of it. They don't understand what goes into it. They don't understand the 24/7 sleepless nights. It's just, and then once you start being successful, they finally see it.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. People think we just show up on Friday nights and flip a switch, and it's definitely not that.
If it was that easy, everybody would do it.
Exactly, Coach. Everybody would be doing it, and it takes a special person when they turn in their helmet for the last time to flip a switch and go from being that player to being the coach. That's like me. I went from being a student manager to coaching. My first year coaching, we went 1-9, and I thought, did I get in over my head? And then the next year I took a year off because of COVID, and then the following year went 12-2 and went to the state championship. So I mean, it was a whole new program, but those kids bought in from the foundation that was laid before I got there, that, hey, this is what we do. And if you don't have the backing of your parents in your community, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, we're struggling with that right now. We're finally getting more community help and more parents like, hey, we hosted a car wash. I think, Sunday? We hosted a car wash yesterday. I think 5 parents showed up. So it was cool to see that, And the parents we have, we have a booster club and all this, and the parents we have are really really care about the kids, because without that, it's without the parents and the coaches and all the stuff they see behind the scenes, it's pointless. We're not developing young men into adults, the community, having that community, outreach and the backing from the community means a lot. Like you said, without that, it's what's the point of playing on Friday nights if no one's going to come out and scream and yell and cheer,
Exactly.
And having those parents and stuff, the supporters come out and support you on Friday nights is a big thing. It uplifts the kids. It gives them a reason to play because they know that the community's out there supporting them and stuff. So it's, I completely agree with that. Having the kids out there or having the parents out there to support the kids, it's really a positive direction. Because then the kids see the parents buying into it, and then the kids will be like, well, my parents are doing it, let's go and do it. So it's kind of back and forth. It's kind of, well, not back and forth, but it's kind of a, one of those do as I do and not as I say kind of thing. So it's a backward. I don't know. You guys get it. I don't know what I'm talking about. So you said you're running back, special teams. So me being a special teams guy, what kind of punt formation do you use? What kind of me being a special teams guy, what kind of punt formation do you use?
So I vary. When I was coaching it, I varied from spread to shield. I would muddle it, so I would bring just the whole offensive line, if we're on the right hash, I'd bring the whole offensive line to the left, keep the long snapper and the 3 shield guys or 1 shield guy, and just mess with their heads. That way, I would motion. It's kind of crazy. I would motion guys on punt back from, if we would say I had a 3-man shield, I'd motion one guy out into a slot or motion him into a wing. But I mean, I like to have fun with special teams. That's how I really got my groove. Because understanding it, because a local coach at the Division II level, a great mentor of mine, Dan Beard. He was a special teams coordinator over at Millersville. And he said the best coaches are special team coaches because you got to think offensively. And as soon as that other team catches a ball, you got to think of defensively. And it really is true with me because, now I get it because, like on punt, as soon as that ball snaps, okay, I need to be aggressive then on defense. As soon as I catch it, I need to be on a defensive mindset. Okay, I can set up, for instance, like I used to teach the kids, we need to go into a defensive formation. So I would go to a 33 type stack look where, the long snapper is always, he attacks the ball carrier head up, and then the two gunners or the wing guys are always outside shoulder, and then the next 3 free guys are just basically stacking them, and then you're creating an umbrella on the back behind them. So it's pretty neat that what he said, and then how I really, after breaking it all down and seeing it, I'm like, wow, it makes sense.
Yeah. I ran shield a lot. Shield was my main thing. I picked it, and I liked the way it was set up. I could have, my beefy, at least one of my fastest beefy guy in the back to help block and stuff. So it was, I'm a big fan of the shield formation. So
yeah. Coach, with your offense, are you more of up tempo in your RPO game, or how do you guys coach that?
That all depends on the play of the game. If we're talking game scenario, if we're talking practice.
Yep.
Okay. Practice, it's more. It all depends. Like if we got inside zone RPOs, so it is quick. Sometimes it's hard to develop quick RPO scheme, but I'd like to go quick. That's what we've been striving for the last couple years. But then it all comes down, like we all know, RPO comes down to the mesh with the quarterback and running back. If that's screwed up, everything's screwed up. So, I'm thankful that my running back's really good. I would say he understands the mesh really well and the timing of that, and when he needs to tempo himself and when he needs to speed it up. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. But we have RPOs in that are just wicked fast where it needs to be out right then and there, or it takes more time to develop based off of linebacker reads.
Yeah, I'm more of like the go-go offense that UNLV was running when Coach Merriman was there, but he's now at Sac State running. And I was just curious. I'm more of an inside zone guy that likes to run no huddle constantly and keep the defense from being able to shift and substitute personnel.
Yeah, I'd love the inside zone. We just can't get off double teams.
Yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah,
that's an issue.
We have reached our time limit, guys. And normally what we do here on Don't Overthink It, we kind of just, we usually like to let our guests give us some like words of experience or words of wisdom, or give us a quote that they like to stick to and stuff. So Coach Dawson, if you don't have one, that's fine. If not, we can get one. Do you have any kind of like words of wisdom that you would give to your players or to new coaches coming in and stuff? Just inspirational thought, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
I learned this real young. Reach out to everybody and anybody. I've created great memories and great relationships from guys that, are now coaching in the NFL, now to do it at the high school level. So my biggest thing is don't be afraid to reach out. I learned that at a young age, and now I've built great relationships with extremely smart coaches. And, now that we're doing something like this, it's even better now that you can just reach out to anybody. That's my biggest thing, is just don't be afraid to ask and reach out, because in the end, everybody's human. Everybody's got time on their hands to answer a quick text message or a phone call. No one's bigger than the world right now.
Yeah. And there's something, now that you mentioned that, there's something that you mentioned earlier that someone told me back at the beginning of my coaching career. Being a student of the game takes you a long ways. Never stop learning the game. There's always something to learn. And you mentioned that earlier, and I think that goes really well with what you just said on your inspirational thought. I like that. Never not be a student of the game. I like it a lot. I'm gonna use that. Yeah. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, I like that. That's like with me. I'm finishing up my bachelor's degree in sports management, and I've networked myself to a bunch of college coaches because my goal is to ultimately become a college coach. So I'm always networking through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever I can do. I'm reaching out to college coaches through emails and text and phone calls to get myself to where I want to be. Because it's not just high school kids. I want to touch college kids, even though they're 19, 20, 21-year-olds thinking they know it all, but we all know that they need somebody too. So that's my biggest thing, to always network yourself to get better, because there's always something you can learn.
Yep. Being a student of the game. Alrighty, guys. So we're gonna close it there. I'd like to thank you guys for coming in. We're glad to have you guys on, have you guys back. Coach Mott's been back. This is his second time. Yep. Coach Dawson, glad to have you on for the first time, but glad to have you guys. Thanks for being on, and you guys out there listening, if you even do listen, don't overthink it.